When you're out and about, do you hear music drifting your way? From the store's Muzak to your personal playlist, music is different for everyone. For me, and for you. Music reminds us of memories and feelings from our past. Sometimes it reminds us of who we were and who we are today. And sometimes it reminds us of who we're meant to be. I'm a writer, and these are my music memories. This song is Butterfly by Smile.dk. I don't actually know anything about the artist. I know that they made a few songs for a video game series, but I don't think they went on to greatness in North America, where I live. So I've really only ever heard this song in the games. This song floods my brain with bright colors. It also brings a strange smile to my face, no matter how much my face wants to keep the expression of a dour old man. You know the expression, the one that's always on display whenever you open the doors to go to work. But like trying to stop a laugh, I always lose to the mirth of a smile. The lyrics are the simple, nonsensical stuff that used to come out on the radio in the 90s. Lyrics didn't matter as much when Euro dance music was playing. This song made me want to dance with the reckless abandon of a cat chasing a laser. You know, where you're too busy smiling to notice a group of people glaring at you. The freedom not to be concerned with other people's opinions or judgments. Where the smile is your shield, allowing you to keep the bouncy joy of the moment in your heart. I remember first getting that feeling when I was playing Dance Dance Revolution. Dance Dance Revolution, or DDR, was a game I played on my Xbox 360. Connecting the dance mat to the console and setting up the game was always very, very serious business. Until the music started. Hearing that Captain Jack song got my toes tapping and my face smiling. I would always play the game in socks. You wouldn't wear shoes to play DDR. I mean, you could. But then the noise that came from you stomping on the floor to hit the dance pad notes would be so loud that your smile would quickly fade. You wouldn't be able to hear the music. I mean, if I wanted to hear a stomping of shoes on the floor, I climbed the stairs at work at lunchtime. No, I wore socks. Granted, I would slip a bit when my feet got a little too far away from me, but what I lost in traction, I gained in musical bliss. I could actually hear and enjoy the music. And there have been so many Dance Dance Revolution games over the years, it's kind of exhausting. I've never even come close to playing them all. I haven't had the time or the energy. But because I have such a fondness for the musical tastes of the developers, I've heard most of the soundtracks. And the songs in DDR were never full versions of the songs. Folks would pass out from trying to do the entire version of that Love Shine song. They can go on for 3 or 4 minutes. In dancing time, that can seem like a frantic eternity. Sometimes they can be a little insulting, like the True Kiss Destination version of Toto's Africa. But it still made me want to sway my hips. Wow, actually, I never thought I'd refer to my dancing as swaying. But I suppose that's what certain types of music does to you. It makes you want to sway. Where all the music sounded familiar, I mean, just try dancing to a slow ballad or something. It's kind of tough. There were always enough differences to keep it interesting. What I mean is I could play several songs in a row with the same emotional movements. The beat and the colors would change just enough to make me shift my swaying. And to be quite honest, I don't have the DDR soundtracks on my phone or anything. In fact, they haven't gotten played much outside the game at all. That's pretty surprising, because usually when I find a song that grabs me, I want to bring it everywhere with me. DDR tunes, though, not so much. But there's no better soundtrack to have when dancing for a high score. This is very different than most of my regular techno dance music. It's happier than the Chemical Brothers or even Paul Oakenfold. About the closest band I have in my musical library would be Aqua. You know, the guys who did Barbie Girl and a bunch of other songs that everyone forgot? You know, I actually believe Barbie Girl was actually in one of the DDR games. This game first appeared in Japanese arcades. It did very well over there, eventually making it over to the North American arcades. Now, I've never played this game in an arcade, and now that arcades are largely a thing of the past, it doesn't seem like I'll ever get the chance to. I mean, I don't think there's more than a few in the entirety of Northern Ontario. I honestly don't know how the arcade decline is even possible. The point of the arcade wasn't really to play video games. I mean, if you want to play Gauntlet, you could always do it in the comfort of your parents' living room on your Nintendo. But if you really wanted to enjoy it, you played it with 3 friends on a 4-player cabinet at your local arcade, fighting over who gets to be the Green Ranger, and listening to them give you crap for shooting their food, just as the game told you to not shoot the food. It was the random communal experience. Gauntlet at home will never be as exhilarating as play it in public. Getting bumped by people rushing to the Street Fighter II machine, all while trying to avoid death, who is chasing you down as you struggle to get to the exit. Stuff like that you just can't do outside a public arcade setting. I believe that music games really took off in the arcades. The DDR arcade machines were so big that if you were ever lucky enough to see one in public, you would be forced to check it out. The loud music and lights would bring people from across the room to watch. The players playing the game would draw the envy of the spectators as well. They would be jealous that the people playing it, were so fearless. They had the ability to dance in public without seeming to feel nervous or scared. There are not that many people that I've ever met that could muster such bravery, at least not without copious amounts of alcohol. I always thought that those people were the people that could do anything they wanted to in life. Long before Dance Dance Revolution was even created, I had seen Donkey Kong, the arcade game. It was in an arcade in Guelph. I remember being drawn to the music of this little arcade game hidden from view. It was playing the loop from Donkey Kong. Mario was jumping around trying to avoid the barriers that were being thrown. It looked so simple. I thought I could easily beat this game in 1 quarter. I ended up getting right next to Donkey Kong in the first screen, right before it got me with a quick barrel throw. I never even saw it coming. I walked away from the game right then. I had a rule when in an arcade. I would only spend more than 1 quarter on a single game if I did well. I didn't do so well playing Donkey Kong for the first time, so I walked away. It was in that arcade that I played a game that would end up becoming my favorite game. Now, I don't know if this is my favorite game of all time, but it's definitely my favorite arcade game of all time. It's better than Solomon's Key or even Street Fighter II. That game was super hang-on. The arcade machine actually had a bike that you would ride on, a full-size bike. A red motorcycle with the only controls that were actually on the machine. You would sit on it, turn the grips on the handle to accelerate and to brake. One side was accelerate, the other side was brake. You would turn by actually leaning the bike to the left or the right. The severity of the turn depended on how much you tilted the bike. I spent so many quarters on that game. I was so enamored with the games at the arcade that I borrowed money from my mom when she wasn't looking. Yes, she fed my addiction to Super Hang-On, and she didn't even know it. With her unknowing support, I eventually beat the arcade version of Hang-On. I was so proud. The game was old by the time I started playing it, though, so I didn't have a crowd to watch me finish the final race. New games, like Mortal Kombat or Lethal Enforcers, would always have a large crowd gathered to watch the player beat the final boss. Older games like Hang-On never got the same attention, and I couldn't even tell my mom about my victory, as she would have asked questions. Of all the arcade games that I've ever played, that full-sized Hang-On machine remains one that I would buy today if I ever could find it. Of course, I'd have to find the space in my home for it. Whether it be Hang-On or Dance Dance Revolution, arcades gave us a public excuse to be silly and competitive. And that doesn't happen as much anymore unless you're doing it for the likes. By the way, please subscribe to this channel. And then, even then, it's usually a solo act of silliness, not the communal experience of an arcade. Thanks for listening to a story that fell out of my head. If you've got a favorite game that really should only live in arcades, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.